and welcome back to another Artifact Corner. Today we will be looking at a book belonging to Henry Webb, the husband of our Frances Henrietta Delord. The book, titled National Portrait Gallery, Distinguished Americans, was published in 1834. The book contains a drawing of each person and a brief biography. It contains many distinguished people from American history up to its present time, which at the time was 1834. The book starts with George Washington and also contains pieces on Israel Putnam, John Williams, Daniel Webster, and many more. The one that caught our attention was James Fenimore Cooper. James and Henry Webb knew each other and moved in the same social circles. Frances Henrietta mentions in her honeymoon journal that they dined with Cooper in France. James led a fascinating life. Let's learn a bit more about James Fenimore Cooper. James was born in Burlington, New Jersey in 1789 to William Cooper and Elizabeth Fenimore Cooper. The 11th of 12 children, half of whom unfortunately died during infancy or childhood. When James was 1 year old, his family moved to Cooperstown, New York, a community founded by his father. His father was later elected to the United States Congress as a representative from Otsego County. At age 13, James enrolled at Yale University. He only completed 3 years before he was expelled due to his pranks. He locked a donkey in a recitation room, assuming that's a lecture hall. He also used some explosives to blow up a fellow student's door. Less than a year later, in 1807, he joined the crew of the American merchant ship Sterling as a common sailor. They sailed to England and Spain, and he spent 11 months on board the Sterling. In 1808, he enlisted in the U.S. Navy and served on a number of vessels, meeting some people who would become lifelong friends. By early 1810, he was assigned to a desk job and was bored silly, and ended up resigning his commission. In 1811, he married Susan Augusta Delancey, a wealthy young woman from Westchester County, New York. In 1820, when reading a contemporary novel to his wife Susan, he decided to try his hand at fiction, resulting in a neophyte novel set in England he called Precaution. Its focus on morals and manners was influenced by Jane Austen's approach to fiction. His second novel, The Spy, became the first novel written by an American to become a bestseller at home and abroad, requiring several reprintings to satisfy the demand. Following on a swell of popularity, Cooper published The Pioneers, the first of the Leatherstocking series in 1823. The series features the interracial friendship of Natty Bumppo, a resourceful American woodsman who is at home with the Delaware Indians and their chief, Chingachgook. Bumppo was also the main character of Cooper's most famous novel, The Last of the Mohicans, from 1826, written in New York City, where Cooper and his family lived from 1822 to 1826. The book became one of the more widely read American novels of the 19th century. Cooper continued to write, and his books mostly featured Native American romances, maritime fiction, and political and social controversy. The 1840s began with the last two novels featuring Natty Bumppo, both critical and reader successes: The Pathfinder from 1840 and The Deerslayer from 1841. Cooper spent the last years of his life in Cooperstown. He died on September 14, 1851, one day before his 62nd birthday. He was buried in the Christ Episcopal Churchyard, where his father, William Cooper, was buried. Cooper's wife Susan survived her husband only by a few months and was buried by his side at Cooperstown. This book is in good condition, although there is some cracking along the spine. This was the first publication of its kind in the United States and is therefore a very important work. It is an amazing reminder of how information about notable figures in our history was disseminated to the public during the 1830s. We are so lucky to have this in our collections. Thanks so much for stopping by. those of you who waited, here is another shot of Daniel Day-Lewis from The Last of the Mohicans. You're most welcome.